All right, guys. So we're kind of wrapping up and ending our astronomy unit. We have been talking about all the objects in outer space. We've talked about how they can affect us. We've talked about the technology we use to explore and learn about outer space. We talked about what we can learn about looking at Mars. We talked about exploring Mars and things like that. Um, and we talked about the age of the universe and how old it is and how large it is and all those things. So we're kind of moving forward that exact same idea, and we're going to start talking about the Fermi paradox. Okay, the Fermi paradox is very simple, but it's a complex idea. It's a very simple way to state something that's really complex. So the Fermi paradox says that even if there's alien life out there, if there's alien life out there, the likelihood that we're going to find it is almost non-existent. Okay? And that's because the universe is expanding and we don't have the technology to get to even the closest places to us right now. So by the time we get to that level of technology, we're probably not going to be able to use it, if that makes any kind of sense. Now, there's a lot that can happen between now and tomorrow, or now and 5 years from now, or now and 100 years from now. Um, so when we talk about trying to create a level of technology that we call science fiction right now, that's not something that's even remotely possible, we still consider it impossible. If that makes, I hope that makes sense. So the Fermi paradox is, even if there is alien life, we won't be able to find it because we're moving farther and farther away from each other. And by the time our technology catches up with the distances we would have to travel, those distances have already gotten so large that that new technology, the stuff we thought would fix our problem or answer that question, is now useless or it's not usable. So it's a simple idea, but it encompasses a whole bunch of other little parts and pieces of information, okay? So I found a really cool video for you to watch on the Fermi paradox. It explains a little bit better than me. It kind of show you some visuals and help you understand what I just explained. So that's what this blue link is right here, the Fermi paradox video. Um, so I've got some questions in here to kind of help you understand what the Fermi paradox is and what it says, and to kind of pull it into bite-sized pieces for you so that it's a little bit easier to grasp. But it is a really interesting concept, and if you do have questions on it, I am absolutely always here to try and explain things or talk about things a little bit more in depth. If that's something you're interested in. You can also, this channel right here also has several other videos on the Fermi paradox, but I'm not making you go that deep into this concept because it is kind of deep already on its own, okay? But these questions are going to help chunk it into smaller bits and pieces, and we will get to talk about this when we come back to our regular schedules, okay? And so once you've answered these first questions that go with the video, I've got three questions down here at the bottom that we're going to call thinking questions. These are normally questions that we would discuss in class, kind of talk to each other about. So I want to get your ideas on that before we get to come back to our regular schedule and get to kind of talk about this kind of stuff, all right? So these last three questions, after you watch the video, after you watch the video on the Fermi complex or paradox, ooh, you should be able to answer these three questions. Now, these three questions are asking you what you think about the situation. What do you understand, and what do you think? Where do you think we are according to the Fermi paradox? Okay. So, if there's other life on a planet, is that going to be a good thing for us or a bad thing for us? What would they do for us? Would you want to go visit them? Would you want them coming to live with us here on Earth? So I kind of want you to think about one scenario or the other. If we do find aliens, is that going to be a good thing for us, or could it be a negative thing? Okay. So those last two questions, that's kind of where I want you to think with those last two. And this first one, it's I'll just let you watch the video for that one, okay? Um, it's interesting. It's very interesting, I promise. Um, so there's filters mentioned in the video, according to like whether life can survive certain things. So I want you to think about the filters and think about where you think we fit in on that level of filters, okay? Um, so if you do have questions with this, I'm always going to be in class for you. I'm always going to be there to help. So please make sure you're watching the videos. If you need to pause it for a second, take a break and come back to it, that's all right. But keep in mind this is something that we will talk about. We will be using it in class, okay? All right.